Hello, everybody. Sasha here, and welcome to my channel. So, I am here today, following on from watching the brilliant podcast with Brian Richardson, also known as Brian Rolfe, and Liam Tufts. And now I have been on this channel talking a lot about my involvement by working at Raquel's back in 1995, and when all of this Essex Boys case and the Leah Betts case all went off. And it's been really interesting to see the truth really coming out a little bit more and coming to light. And my experiences over the last 7 months, and what I found out about this case and the whole police corruption. Now, today is Wednesday, the 29th of May, and it's a big day for me as me and my husband, Michael Wall, have just launched a crowd justice campaign. Now, this crowd justice campaign is due to the suspicious death of my brother-in-law on Shoreham Beach on the 30th of October 2020. Um, and it's also involves it involves a serious, what seems to me clearly now to be a cover-up or shut down, a silencing for whatever reason, with Sussex Police. They have not been acting normally. Now, after having watched Brian's interview with Liam Tufts, I have been in contact with Brian since I kind of first popped into the Essex Boys Facebook groups back in November. We've only, had brief conversations and spoken. But my heart actually went out to Brian. Brian, if you're watching, um, of how incredibly badly he was abused in the state care system as a child. And this has significant similarities and things that are highlighting to me that I'm hearing time and time again about what's happening to kids in the care system, and then the results of the kind of abuse and trauma that they suffer, and what happens um, in their youth and as we get older, and how these things affect you. Many people aren't still here, um, and for all kinds of reasons. It's not that people just give up. There's police corruption, really bad people doing really bad things. And when you're kind of born onto the streets, as it were, um, and your parents may not be looking after you in the way that you would hopefully want to look after your children. And things go very wrong for the kids. And I'm a big believer in that we need to stop blaming the kids and look at the people in charge of them. Now, it is quite clear my heart went out to Brian about his mother, and what a terrible mum she was, and how much like every other little boy and little girl, all they want is their mum to love and care for them and show them that love and care. And when they don't, and when they've got all kinds of issues themselves, for whatever reasons, this is not about blame, this is not about shame. It's the children that suffer. Um, and a lot of time they will abuse their children um, used as commodities, used to do things, um, used to do jobs, all kinds of jobs, and it really just depends on the mother and father and who's about. And then when things go really wrong at home, then the state care system jumps in. And that's supposed to be a safety net. And it appears to be more often than not, really not. And my husband is not from the care system. And his brother was also not in the care system. But his mother went on to foster. And from about the age of 11, I think it's from about 1989, if I'm right, my husband's mother, who is now deceased and died last June, she fostered more over 20 children from West Sussex County Council. And it appears that it's for this reason that my husband and his now deceased brother seem to have not been treated in the normal way that you would hope. This could be a reason. If it's not, then Sussex Police need to tell me. But when you hear how bad Essex Police were 30 years ago, and how bad the care system was 30 years ago, and the truth of what, like Brian Richardson, one of the Essex boys' brothers, Craig Rolfe's brother, when he tells you the stories and he's being truthful, and it's a wonder he's still alive and looking amazing and speaking his truth and being able to stand up and be counted in this whole case and not let anybody bully him and anybody scapegoat him anymore. And bullying and scapegoating, exploitation, abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, violence, all of these things go on. And it's not about kind of the blame. It's about the people that are surviving through this, talking out and speaking out to try and stop this happening over and over again, still. Because right here, right now, I'm sitting here with a 4-year case history of absolute nightmare with Sussex Police. When I went to Sussex Police 4 years ago for help, my brother-in-law also disclosed sexual abuse, historic sexual abuse, for 2 years when he was 10. We called for help, raising concerns. I then was ABH assaulted um, by a man that lives in Shoreham, just up the beach from where my brother-in-law died, and verbally abused that day, horrifically, literally thrown out of the house physically by my shoulders, bruised all the way up. Um, I I hoped the police were going to kind of take this seriously. Then they didn't. 8 weeks later, my brother-in-law was uh, found, well, died basically on the beach in Shoreham Beach in the middle of the afternoon, in the most suspicious of circumstances, still unexplained, and still they didn't want to know. And it is from that point that it's been a real, true wake up journey for me, to understand how corrupt the system is, how many people are losing their lives because of it, for all different reasons, from murder to overdoses to missing people to suicides, deaths of despair. And also many people just really, really suffering in the mental health system, because the mental health system is a shocking state of affairs as well. And Sussex NHS have also um, got some serious questions to answer, and for some reason, they don't seem to want to answer them, and they don't want to provide the information that they should be being. Should be clear that we now have police disclosure, saying that the last time the mental health services saw my brother-in-law face to face was when it kicked off, and it was on the 22nd of October, which was omitted from inquest. Now, we were invited after 2 years of battling for a meeting at Meadowfield Hospital, which is the psychiatric hospital that assessed my brother-in-law and told him that he was bipolar and there's some medication. And we turned up on Friday, and the woman that said she would meet us in reception that wrote the report was not there. She stood us up, fully stood us up. Now, I wonder why that would be. Can anybody at Sussex NHS tell us? So, I'm here to say that the similarities in the implications of people being abused in the care system and then struggling to survive and getting no help, and the police are supposed to be there to serve and protect and help us, and I have been treated like absolute poo on the floor. And the misogyny, the ignorance, the incompetence, the negligence, um, and I like the unconscious bias of many innocent people, generally thought they would want to do a good job. And I'm not saying that every police officer that I have dealt with over the last 4 years has been completely incompetent, but many are like robots. The training is just awful. The complaint service is just the, it's just not fit for use, it's not fit for service. It is the police investigating themselves. They're never going to do that. You think they're above the law. Essex police need to hang their head in shame. Not only shame, they need to be held accountable. You know, we're talking about murder and corruption around people's deaths. Not only the three Essex boys, but also around Leah Betts' death and all of the money that's been made by um, various people and publications since, specifically certain ones, and how this whole thing, fanfare, whole fanfare, is avoiding deflecting suspicion away from the police having anything to do with anything, but because the police are so good. And no, they're not accountable, and I am an innocent victim. I have never committed any offences. Like, we've all done drugs. That's like find me somebody that hasn't really these days, you know. Um, but I abhor violence. I live by good principles. I believe in moralistic values and virtues, and I also understand why people are driven to do certain things. And when they don't get help, then everything escalates out of control. And I've not got any help from Sussex Police. My husband has had all of his human rights shut down. He's been silenced, shut down, attacked, abused. So have I. And they seem to think that's okay in the wake of his brother's death. And it definitely isn't. Now, he wouldn't have been having it if he was here. And I can feel his spirit on my shoulder. Don't know if you can see it. But you will be seeing his face all over the Crowd Justice campaign. We've got an amazing lawyer, Oliver Alfala, who is going to be presenting this case back to the police. And with everybody's help and support I am going to do my best to expose, not only expose the police, but show them what they're doing wrong, um, and make sure that lots of people are fired that need to be fired, and that they are getting predators, paedophiles, murderers, abusers, domestic abusers, um, fraudsters, all these serious people off our streets. We don't need it. There's plenty enough money for everybody. We can look after everybody else. Don't be distracted by the bullshit elections. All of them are corrupt. We need a revolution. And so say me. So I will be spamming you all and um, hitting you all up with the link because we do need support. Um, I have launched a Whistleblowers United organisation. It's been a soft launch. Essex Police phoned me and asked me about my soft launch on Whistleblowers United. I wonder if Sussex Police are going to be interested in Whistleblowers United as well. I would love to have a conversation with them about it. Yes, I would. Um, because it is a disclosure and support service to help victims that are being failed and want to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, because the truth matters. And so the details of the case are on that site. I'll be sending that link out as well. I will be doing some lives, and this campaign goes on for 30 days. We've got the first initial target is 2.5 grand, and then to get it done is just 10 grand. So it's going to be a big 29 days for me. And I just really want to thank everybody for all the love, all the support, all of the help, uh, all of the donations, and just keeping connected and staying on the right side of history and the right side of truth and the right side of good and evil, because we are we are the light workers and these are demons. And I tell you, I've met so many demons in this scenario over the last 4 years. Anyway, before I go off on one, I'll just say thank you and please support and share my crowd justice campaign. We are going to get to the bottom of what happened to my brother-in-law, talk about what's happened to us, how this shouldn't happen to anybody, and uh, expose the Essex Police at the same time. So say all of us. Big love.